Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 largest empires in history.
Recent scientific evidence suggests that perhaps 1 in 200 men alive today can trace their genetic lineage back to Genghis Khan.
For this list, we'll be looking at the vastest empires in human history, ranking them in order of land area at their peaks. Did you have any issues circumnavigating our list? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. The Xiongnu Empire, 3rd century BCE to 1st century CE. The Xiongnu were a nomadic people who lived on the Eurasian steppes around the same time as the Roman Republic. The name we know them by is pejorative, having the meaning of fierce slave. They overthrew their overlords, the Yuezhi, and conquered much of modern-day Siberia, Mongolia, and parts of China. In 209 BCE, their leader Modu Shanyu organized the tribes into a unified confederation. Together, they defied the power of the Qin dynasty and enjoyed a century of expansion. At one point, their domain spread out over almost 3.5 million square miles of land. Number 9. The Yuan Dynasty, 1271 to 1368.
We march whether they're ready or not. Vice Regent Yusuf gave his life to give you this opportunity. Remember that.
A grandson of Genghis Khan, Kublai was the 5th emperor of the Mongol Empire. He declared himself the head of a Han-style dynasty in modern China and Mongolia, the eastern portion of the original Mongol Empire. At its height, the Yuan spanned over 4 million square miles. Kublai founded a new capital city for his empire, which today is Beijing. He financed multiple infrastructure projects and encouraged the growth of the Silk Road trade routes. At the end of the 13th century, he attempted invasions of Japan, Vietnam, and Java, but these failed and the empire proved short-lived. Kublai's successors were unable to hold the empire against the Ming dynasty, which overthrew it in 1368.
Fire.
Number 8. The Umayyad Caliphate, 661 to 750.
It was here in 708 that the armies of the Umayyad Caliph Al-Walid reached the Atlantic coast.
4 Islamic caliphates ruled the Muslim world after the death of the Prophet Muhammad. The second of these was the Umayyad Caliphate, which ruled for a century. Historians estimate that at its peak, up to 62 million people lived under the Umayyad reign. In the west, the empire controlled all of Africa's northern coast, as well as Spain and Portugal. It reached as far east as the eastern banks of the Indus River in India. It spread Islam throughout the Middle East and into Eurasia. From its capital in Damascus, the Umayyad Caliphate ruled over a vast, multicultural and multi-ethnic state. They were overthrown by the Abbasids in 750 CE.
A rather mysterious leader who's remembered by the name Abu Muslim was calling for pledges of allegiance to the Prophet's family. And he managed to draw a substantial following from eastern Iran into an army to oppose Umayyad rule.
Number 7. The Abbasid Caliphate, 750 to 1258. The Abbasid Caliphate endured for half a millennium and ushered in the golden age of Islam. In 762, the ruling caliph founded the city of Baghdad, which served as the caliphate's capital for most of its existence until its sacking by the Mongols. Art and science flourished under the Abbasids. Intellectualism was viewed as a virtue, and great works were translated from multiple languages into Arabic to spread their knowledge. The Caliphate was the world's central hub for advances in mathematics, science, engineering, and medicine. At its height in the 8th century, the Abbasids governed almost 4.3 million square miles of territory. Number 6. The French Colonial Empire, 1534 to 1980.
Monsieur Jean Sarraut, inspecteur général en mission extraordinaire, a présidé une réunion qui avait pour objet l'organisation à Alger de la lutte contre l'activité rebelle.
In the 1930s, 1 out of every 20 people on Earth lived under French rule. From 1534 to 1980, the French controlled an empire that expanded and contracted over the years. They conquered parts of North America, Southeastern Asia, and most of Northwest Africa. After World War I, the French controlled nearly 1/3 of the African continent. The empire was founded on the racist principle of the so-called civilizing mission. The French believed that it was their divine mandate to spread Catholicism and the French language throughout the so-called savage lands. After World War II, wars of decolonization spread throughout their holdings. By the time Algeria attained independence in 1962, the colonial empire had functionally come to an end.
Au fond, ce sont de braves gens. Nous nous sommes bien entendus avec eux pendant 130 ans. Je ne vois pas pourquoi ça ne continuerait pas.
Oui, mais il n'y a pas seulement Alger en Algérie.
Number 5. The Spanish Empire, 1492 to 1976.
I claim this island and name it San Salvador.
During the European age of exploration, naval power ruled the day, and few navies could compare to that of the Spanish Empire. Their explorers and conquistadors conquered much of the New World. At the peak of the Spanish Empire in the mid-1700s, their holdings extended through much of North America, all the way down to the tip of South America. They also conquered the Philippines in the Pacific and the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa. Spain, along with Portugal, founded one of the first global empires in history. They extracted vast wealth from the Americas and spread Catholicism around the world. 1 in 10 people on Earth lived under Spanish rule. Number 4. The Qin Dynasty, 1636 to 1912. Unlike many of the dynasties of imperial China, the Qing dynasty was not an ethnically Han kingdom. Instead, the final rulers of imperial China were Manchus from the north. Taking advantage of Ming instability, the Manchus seized Beijing. They established a conservative Confucian rule over the kingdom. During their reign, the population tripled in size to over 450 million people. The empire at its peak was almost 5.7 million square miles in size. The Opium War, Anglo-French War, First Sino-Japanese War, and Boxer Rebellion all severely weakened China. They gave territorial concessions to foreign powers, and the revolution that followed ended the imperial reign forever. Number 3. The Russian Empire, 1721 to 1917.
Peter christened his city St. Petersburg, and it would become the home of the Romanov dynasty, eclipsing Moscow for more than 2 centuries.
Relative to other European and Asian powers, Russia was late to the game in colonial conquest. As neighboring kingdoms like Poland, Sweden, Qin China, and the Ottomans declined, the Russians took advantage and invaded. Peter I and then Catherine the Great fought multiple wars of expansion, while modernizing Russia into a European-style global power. The empire grew into parts of China, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East. The Russians also conquered Alaska and parts of Western Canada. According to the 1897 census, there were 125.6 million subjects in the empire. Tsar Nicholas II ruled over almost 9 million square miles of territory. Number 2. The Mongol Empire, 1206 to 1368. Temujin, also known as Genghis Khan, took a small regional power and created the largest contiguous land empire in history, stretching from Korea to Ukraine. The Mongol Empire covered over 9 million square miles and ruled over 17% of the world's population. Millions died in the Khan's wars of expansion, and entire civilizations fell before them.
We made the Merkids pay for their deed. We destroyed their families and emptied their breasts.
The Pax Mongolica, though enforced with an iron fist, brought trade from the Pacific to the Mediterranean and back. Though the empire quickly fell apart in wars of succession, its size and scope represents one of the greatest military feats in history. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. The British Empire, 16th century to 1997. In 1773, one British lord described this British Empire as, quote, the empire on which the sun never sets. It was an accurate assessment given its territory around the world. By 1920, the empire covered 13.7 million square miles across all 7 continents. A quarter of the Earth's population lived under the Pax Britannica. King George V ruled over the largest kingdom in human history. In addition to all of India, Canada, and Australia, the British Empire dominated large swaths of eastern and southern Africa, as well as many Pacific islands. Independence movements led to a wave of decolonization after World War II. The handover of Hong Kong to China in 1997 is considered a symbol of the empire's end. As of 2023, however, 56 countries still make up the British Commonwealth. Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.